metabolic stress on ventilators to help them breathe. So sometimes until we do that and stabilize them, there's a decrease in oxygen availability. Because of the decrease in blood volume, there's a decrease in cardiac output and a decrease in urine output. Our goal, as she indicated, is to stabilize the patient. So we want to restore normal blood flow. If they're bleeding or hemorrhaging, we want to stop it. And we want to restore oxygenation to all tissues. So if they're unable to breathe on their own, we want to put them on the ventilator so that they're able to breathe. As that patient stabilizes, then they move into what's called the flow phase. So the first 24 to 48 hours, the F phase, this is when we're stabilizing the patient. We've listed some of those things that's happening. Once they stabilize, then they move into the flow phase. I can't tell you a length of time for the flow phase. The length of time for the flow phase depends on the severity of the injury. The more severe injury, the longer the flow phase is going to be. This is where we see three things happen. We call it the classic signs and symptoms of metabolic stress. Okay? So we have that increase in metabolic rate. We have the catabolism or lean muscle breakdown. And we have an altered immune and hormone response. Those are the three major things that occur during that flow phase. This is the phase where we usually will initiate some sort of nutrition support. What were the effects? The increase in metabolic rate, the catabolism, and the altered immune and hormone response. This is where we feed them. So if they can't eat on their own, and I know we haven't talked about this yet, but it's coming up, this is when either we would do tube feeding or we would do parenteral nutrition at this point. Why do you think we want to get in there and feed them as soon as they get into this phase? Why is that so important? Prevent malnutrition. Prevent malnutrition? To prevent malnutrition. Let me tell you a secret though. Let's say that a person is in the flow phase and we give them nutrition support to meet their increased needs. We can't totally prevent loss of lean body mass because it's just part of the phenomenon of metabolic stress. We can reduce and try to prevent malnutrition, but we can't totally just prevent lean body mass loss overall. It's just a part of what happens when someone undergoes acute metabolic stress. So our job is to initiate nutrition support as quickly as possible once the patient stabilizes it to reduce the risk of malnutrition, to reduce lean body mass loss. The length of this when it gets How do you monitor that the patient is getting enough than if they are losing? Because normally that would be a sign that we're not actually feeding them enough, right? So how do we monitor? We'll monitor them with changes in weight. Unfortunately, you can't utilize like lab values because you can't use things. We learned before that lab values aren't good. What you could do potentially is utilize a prealbumin level. Let me tell you why. We know that in inflammation, prealbumin is going to drop, right? So under metabolic stress, we would expect that prealbumin drops. But because prealbumin has such a short half-life, you can monitor it frequently to see if what you're doing is making a difference. You get what I'm saying? So you monitor the trend to see that it's increasing to normal limits. But you may not actually see it get to normal limits. Remember, they're still under metabolic stress. Does that make sense? Yeah. You can also monitor things. That's why it's so important now for the nutrition-focused physical exam, the physical portion of it, so that in addition to just looking at calories, in addition to looking at weight overall, we are looking at fat stores and muscle stores in those patients. And that's been the problem. Okay? That's why we have such a difficult time estimating these for patients that are undergoing metabolic stress. And when we get to that calculation, we'll talk more about it. It's very, very difficult to do. The only way to really do
fluid is with indirect calorimetry. And so some hospitals have them, but they are not readily available. So any sort of equation that we use is only a predictive measure or a predictive estimate of what that patient will be. Okay, so they're in the flow phase, we're feeding them now. Once the trauma or the wound or the infection heals, then they'll move into the last phase, which is the recovery or resolution phase. In this one, it's exactly as the name implies. Everything returns back to normal or it recovers. So now you have the resolution of stress. The stress is gone. They return to anabolism, so they stop breaking down lean body mass. Now they start building it up, so anabolism versus catabolism. And their metabolic rate returns to normal.
Okay, so in the last phase of their returning to anabolism, like before that, could you try to like push them towards
Potentially, I've never seen it utilized that way. I don't do that could be. I've just never seen it that way. And you may be able to do that, but you're not going to stop the loss of the life mass. You know what I mean? You could maybe use that.
So basically just like turning it down like
Right.
all the way like off.
Right. It's just part of the process that okay, so this part may just be a review here, but we'll go over it. So if you think back again to nutrition assessment and planning, some of the things that happen during metabolic stress. You have that kind of like flight or fight response, okay? Hyperglycemia. Do you guys remember that we talked about that last time? There are a couple of reasons. Remember, under metabolic stress, patients who are not diabetic, their blood sugar levels are going to go high. Okay? We see this for several reasons. Some of our tissues become resistant during this process. So insulin is being produced, but it's unable to be moved into the tissue, so it stays into the bloodstream. We have an increase in something called gluconeogenesis. Okay? Gluconeogenesis is when you form glucose from a non-carbohydrate source. So what do you think they're using to form glucose? Protein. So all that protein that they're breaking down or taking from the lean body mass, they're using that. It goes through gluconeogenesis and it forms additional glucose. So we have all this glucose floating around in our bloodstream. So whenever someone's undergoing some sort of acute metabolic stress, you would expect to see that those glucose levels are going to be high. So when you look at things like it says the hyperglycemia results from glucagon and cortisol, the glucagon and cortisol are going to increase the incidence of gluconeogenesis. That goes along with the next bullet point, that there's a reliance on protein as a glucose source, and that during this process, there's typically a negative nitrogen balance. Okay, so again, we're giving things to kind of negate that, but there's still usually that negative nitrogen balance. The loss of lean body mass makes sense, and then the catabolism. All of that goes along with the metabolic stress. There's an increased level of glucagon and increased glucose production. That's the gluconeogenesis. The cortisol increases the gluconeogenesis and free fatty acid mobilization. Mobilization means that your macronutrients are being broken down to their simplest form so that they're readily available to be used as an energy source. Okay? So when we talk about free fatty acid mobilization, we're breaking it down so that it can be readily available as a source of energy. Your catecholamines, which are your epi and norepinephrine, they are going to stimulate glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis, remember, is the breakdown of glycogen to breaking down that stored form of glucose into glucose. And again, that's going to contribute to the increased levels of glucose within the bloodstream. And so what would we expect to happen to our acute phase protein? Your negative acute phase proteins like albumin and prealbumin are going to do what under acute metabolic stress? Decrease. Your positive acute phase protein, we usually talk about CRP. What's going to happen to that value under metabolic stress? It's going to increase. Okay? Yes. So know that albumin and prealbumin are negative, they're going to fall, and CRP is going to increase. Those are the only ones I'm going to ask you to be somewhat familiar with. I'm going to do that for now. I want to talk about under the review, there's a document that says estimating needs under module 4 review. You guys find the document? So a couple of things I want you to know about this document. So what we're going to go over today, well, let me back up. So the document is called Estimating Needs. And I just want to emphasize that when we're determining calorie or protein needs for a person, it's purely an estimation. And when we look at determining needs for patients that are critically ill, this is one of the most difficult populations to estimate needs for. If you look at different equations and you do those on the same patient, you're going to get different answers, right? Those predictive equations are just as the name implies predictive. When you look at studies, what's actually done is they've identified that certain equations or certain methods are more effective in different populations, okay? So what we're talking about today are simply needs for patients that are critically ill in the ICU, okay? These are for adult patients. They're for those that are admitted to the ICU, will probably be there for 7 to 10 days, okay? So I just want you, as we go through this, it's going to be a little bit different from some of the other ways that we've estimated needs previously in the semester. So I just want to clarify and specify that these needs are specifically for critically ill patients within that ICU setting. Okay, so they're going to be just a little bit different. So we're going to talk about needs in 3 different ways today. We're going to talk about estimating needs for the critically ill in general. We're going to talk about something known as hypocaloric feeding for obese patients. And we're going to talk about permissive underfeeding. I want to explain those terms to you. Hypocaloric indicates that we're doing lower calorie feedings, right? This is a kind of method or strategy that's designed specifically for patients that are obese and those that are critically ill. Because remember, if we're working with a patient that's obese and critically ill, yes, we know that their needs are increased because of the stress, but how do we feed them enough but not overfeed them in this instance? We're not trying to get them to lose weight when they're critically ill, but we certainly don't want them to gain weight. Does that make sense? patients, we do hypocaloric feeding, and that's embedded in this document. But essentially what that is we lower their calories and we increase their protein. Okay? We lower their calories and we increase their protein. By doing so, we help these patients that are critically ill and obese maintain pretty close to a positive nitrogen balance, even though they're under metabolic stress. This is how we get these fasts. We've determined that it's okay to lower calories because when these patients have been studied, as long as we increase their protein, we can keep them pretty close to a positive nitrogen balance, even under metabolic stress. Okay? So that's what hypocaloric feeding are for. Lower calorie, higher protein, specifically for patients that are obese. Does that part make sense? Okay, so permissive underfeeding. Again, as the name implies, we're permitting ourselves to underfeed patients temporarily. It is not just for the obese. Permissive underfeeding is for anyone that's in the ICU. Permissive underfeeding is where we lower the calorie and protein needs temporarily in order to lessen the stress that's put on the body.
Can you repeat that?
Yes. With permissive underfeeding, we utilize it for anyone, so not just people that are obese, but anyone in the ICU, and we allow ourselves to lower the calories and protein needs temporarily to reduce the stress that's put on the body. Permissive underfeeding is a controversial topic. Okay? There's a lot of studies that say it's beneficial and it helps with healing. There are some studies that say there's no difference in the patient's response from permissive underfeeding or human full feeding. So the research is controversial. What I will tell you about permissive underfeeding is that it typically provides about 60 to 80% of estimated needs. Okay? And it's usually done for about 7 to 10 days after we start feeding. So if they're admitted to the hospital, we feed them within 48 hours. Permissive underfeeding is usually done for just about 7 to 10 days. About 7 to 10 days. The other thing about that, a lot of controversy. The other thing about that is that there's a thought that you don't have to intentionally permissively underfeed because it happens in the ICU anyway. What do I mean by that? Why would it happen in the ICU anyway? Has anyone ever been to an ICU or had someone, family member or someone in the ICU? Is it a busy place? Usually when someone comes in and they're in the ICU, they're going for so many tests, they're being removed from the room, and if you think about feeding, the feeding tube is connected to their patient. If they're going for tests, if they're going for different procedures, if they're always leaving the room, they have to turn the feeding off. So essentially, there's some thought that you don't have to intentionally permissively underfeed because those first few days in the ICU, it happens by chance because they're not usually in the room to get their full amount. Okay? So I want you to be familiar with it, but I also want you to understand that it is still kind of controversial in the research. Some studies have shown to benefit, others haven't. Okay. Understand the difference between those two, right? Okay, so let's look at this document and let's kind of help it to make sense. So the first section looks at calories. And for calories, for the most part, if someone's underweight or a little bit overweight, we're going to use ABW, which is actual body weight. We're going to use their actual body weight. And we're going to give them calories dependent on what their BMI is. So the research says that if their BMI is less than 18, which is underweight, then we're going to give them 30 to 35 or more if they need it, but 30 to 35 calories per kilogram of actual body weight. If they're normal weight, 30 to 35. If they're overweight, 25 to 30. Okay, so you see we can have the option if they're underweight to go a little bit higher. We're cautious about going very high with calories in the ICU. A lot of sources will say that you want to kind of stay around 30. Can go up to 35, but usually around 30. Why do you think that might be?
To do with the ventilation.
Yeah, they're on the ventilator. They're on a ventilator, even though they may have really high needs, you just don't want to go too high while they're on the ventilator. Okay? Very good. Now you see that the bottom two are in red, and that's because I want you to differentiate with those. So for patients that are obese, remember we said we do the hypocaloric feedings, right? So for our obese patients, if their BMI is 30 to 50, we do 11 to 14 calories per kilogram on actual body weight. If they're greater than 50, they find that even if you use 11 to 14 and you do it on actual body weight, that still overestimates needs. So if your BMI is greater than 50, we really should use 20 to 25 on their ideal body weight. Okay, so that's the only one for calories that we use based on their ideal body weight. That part makes sense so far.
How often are you going to see something like rare thing?
It's becoming increasingly popular. You may see it more if you have, say you had someone who's had some sort of gastric bypass, they're very overweight, you may see that. Okay, that part makes sense so far? Okay, so you see I have an asterisk though, because there's always an exception. Nothing's perfect in nutrition. What happens if we're supposed to use their actual body weight, but they have edema or something like that? Then what do we do? Dry weight. What if you don't have dry weight? Ideal body. Okay. Dry weight, ideal body weight. You can't use actual if there's edema. So that would be the exception to that. Yes. It's on the bottom. We'll come to it. But yeah, that would be completely different. These are just full feedings right now.
Your notes say usual body weight. Do we use that one too? Use dry weight?
You could? Yes.
Okay.
Anything that's more reflective of energy, of actual energy source. So if you had like a good usual body weight, or you had a dry weight, you could use that. If you don't have those things, then you would have to use ideal body weight. Calorie needs make sense so far? Okay. Protein, and I apologize for making it so confusing, but these are based on the latest critical care guidelines.
Sorry, I have a question.
On
So
calories? Or just
no, on the previous one.
Okay.
So you would first do usual body weight if you have that full resort to ideal body weight, because I can imagine they might be pretty different.
Say it again?
You would, so if you don't have dry weight or actual, you would then revert to usual before doing ideal.
If you had a good usual body weight, that
Right.
makes sense. You know, because some people, usual body weight might be more realistic, because some
Right.
people may have never been ideal body weight.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can imagine they might be pretty
Yes,
drastically different.
Yes. Okay. Protein, okay? For protein, we're going to do this on ideal body weight. Okay. Protein levels are typically 1.2 to 2.0, so there's a range, okay? That's the range that we would use for stress. So you use the higher end of the range for someone that had more stress, and the lower end for someone that has less metabolic stress. Some conditions may require lower levels. So if someone has a minor surgery, levels are usually like 1 to 1.1. They're going to be on the low end. If someone had major surgery, it's about 1.2 to 1.5. And so how do you distinguish between a minor surgery and major surgery?
is one of the factors maybe like an open incision rather than like a laparoscopic surgery?
Exactly. Yes. There's no really good definition, but we can, kind of anticipate or speculate that if you have an open incision, that's a major surgery. If it's laparoscopically, so there's just a small little incision, that's probably a minor surgery. Another way that you can look at it, if you are leaving the hospital inside overnight stay, that's probably more of a minor surgery versus a major surgery. There's usually a hospital stay involved. For your assessment, you will not have to distinguish whether it's a major or minor surgery, because if I want you to calculate it, I will tell you. All right, so for burns, they can go up to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight. Why would burns go toward that higher end of protein? More severe, what else happens with burns? Yeah, they're open, okay? So you're losing a lot of fluid and a lot of protein through them, okay? So for burns, we're going to stick toward that higher end of protein. And then remember, I told you for obese patients, we have the hypocaloric feeding, which is the lower calorie and the higher protein. So if we're doing hypocaloric feedings for obese patients, we can go up to 2 to 2.5 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight. Bumped it up really high. Remember, so ideally we have this patient that's getting 11 to 14 calories per kilogram of actual body weight and 2 to 2.5 grams of protein per kilogram of ideal body weight. So a lot of students will say, are you sure that will work? That makes me feel uncomfortable. I understand. But that's why the research, when they've done this on patients, they can maintain them close to a positive nitrogen balance, even in the midst of having some sort of acute metabolic stress. Okay?
Are there any considerations for renal implications? Like
renal,
so they might have.
So then you would do it. Yeah.
And what would be?
Usually like 2 is like that cutoff. Okay. So depending on the level of renal function, then you're going to have to go down from there. Did you guys hear her question? Because that was important. And I won't throw that at you on the test, but it's an important question. Yes. So she said, what happens if you have a patient that's obese and they have renal issues? Then what do you do? Would you still give them the 2 to 2.5? So this would be for someone that's obese and acute metabolic stress, but without renal issues. If they have renal issues, then depending on the level of renal function, you're going to have to go down the path. So that may be a patient that you wouldn't even do hypocaloric feeding. Good question.
Depending on the stage as well.
Yes.
Stage 5 or
Right.
dialysis.
Stage 5 they're on dialysis, so they're probably going to have higher protein needs anyway. But if you have that person that's like stage 3 or 4 when they're approaching dialysis, you're not going to want to do that last. And then also, if you have that patient that's on dialysis, you might not want to do hypocaloric feeding because you may have to bump up their calories a little bit. Because the dialysis, it just takes so much time. Questions, guys? Okay. So, and then I have a little asterisk because there's always a caveat, right? So what if you're working with a patient and you're calculating protein needs and they are less than their ideal body weight? Then, do you want to calculate their protein needs on their ideal body weight or do you want to use their actual body weight? If you calculate it on ideal body weight and they actually weigh less, there's a tendency to overestimate protein needs. So for protein, we use ideal body weight, but if they weigh less than ideal body weight, we have to use actual. I know that just throws it off, right? Let me say it again. So say we're calculating protein. We're supposed to do it on ideal body weight. But you have a patient that weighs less than their ideal body weight. If I use ideal body weight to calculate protein, I've now given them too much protein per kilogram of their weight. So there's a tendency if I use ideal body weight and they weigh less, that I may overestimate their protein needs. Does that make sense? That gets real confusing for students sometimes. There's always an exception. Okay? We're going to practice this though. But I just kind of want to make sure that it makes sense just for us talking about it.
So use the body weight or actual?
If they weigh less than their ideal body weight, you're going to use actual body weight.
Then with your increased calories?
Your calories are still going to be on your actual body weight. It just affects the protein. Because calories are typically going to be on their actual body weight already. But if they're underweight, like you're saying, you're going to go toward the higher end. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Questions about protein?
How do we overestimate protein needs if the patient is trying to maybe gain or giving them more power?
So think about it like this. So say that my ideal body weight is 120 pounds. You got a calculator, how many kilograms is that in?
It's like 57.
Yeah.
55.
55, okay. And so what I want you to do is give me 55 times 1.5. Okay, 82.5. Okay, so now let's say that's based on my ideal body weight, okay? But now let's say that I actually only weigh 100 pounds. Now multiply that by 1.5. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? So if you give me 82, when you look at my actual weight, you're no longer giving me 1.5. Now you're giving me closer to 2 grams of protein per kilogram. So if my weight is less than ideal body weight, now you have to use my actual weight. So that way you don't give me too much protein. Make sense? Thank you for asking it that way. All right. Any other questions about protein levels?
How hilarious if somebody got underweight?
It probably won't be that significant as I made it for that example, but every now and then you will look less than that, but probably not as significant. All right. So permissive underfeeding. Okay. Remember we said this is when we allow ourselves to feed patients that are critically ill less than their full needs temporarily, right? So a starting point for permissive underfeeding is 14 calories per kilogram and 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram. Okay. And this would be based on whatever value you're using. So if for 14 calories per kilogram, for calories, you're going to use the actual body weight. And if you're looking at protein, most often you're going to use the ideal body weight unless they weigh less. Okay? So that's the starting point for permissive underfeeding. Yes. So for the K-couch, you're going to use whatever you would normally use. So if you were going to use actual body weight to determine full needs, then you would use actual body weight for permissive underfeeding as well. Same with protein. Most often you're going to use ideal body weight, but if they weigh less than ideal, then you may have to use actual weight. Okay, so same rules apply for that. Okay, so I think we touched on this. For surgery, you're going to follow the same calorie needs depending on what their BMI is. And for protein, we differentiate it between minor and major surgery. Okay. So I put together some practice questions because this portion is sometimes a little bit confusing. So your in-class assignment for today is going to be practice questions related to estimating. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up for you guys, and you can work on that within your groups.
Where's the finger? I have no idea. I'm looking at the middle box, it's not there.
I do have the answers that I put those.
She just posted.
Okay, so it should be open in class activity module 4. And there are, are you guys able to open it? So there are 4 questions, and I'm going to give you like 30 minutes or so to work through them as a group, and then we'll come back and talk about them.
Scenario 41-year-old critical. No. Major abdominal surgery. Okay, let's see. She's 5'2", 190 pounds. Hold on. I know, I took a paper too. Okay, so ideal body weight. She's a female, right?
Yes.
100
Yes.
plus 5 over 68. 110 pounds.
Yeah, so that's important.
Is it really?
So remember, for the assessment, you're going to want to refresh yourself and make sure that you're comfortable identifying ideal body weight and calculating BMI.
Isn't it 100 plus 5 pounds for each? Yeah, that's ideal body weight. Female, it's 100 plus 5 for each. Yeah. And then ideal body weight? No. BMI is... So BMI is pounds times... So 198 times 703 over inches squared, which is 62 squared. 36. Oh yeah, she's old. She's old. Who is she over? 36 is obese one. Yeah. Energy needs. We don't need obese one. Yeah, obese one. Are you putting it in? I'm just writing it down right here. What else do we need? Protein needs. Just started to. Okay. Where's that? She's good. So she's overweight, so we're probably gonna have to use the full obesity. But she doesn't have any other problems, right? I'll check for you. We open it. No, that's it. Just major abdominal surgery. So major, so let's see. Okay, now I have everything set up. Okay, let's go. Oh, just open it. It was 100 plus 5 for every, yes. BMI is LBs. Should we write down the formulas for it?
If you want, that'll be easier for us.
Okay.
I keep running the right spot.
I can't function right now.
So energy. 11 to 14.
I'm sorry.
11 to 14 calories per kilogram.
For her obese. Yeah, 11 to 14 for her actual body weight.
Using actual body weight.
Yeah. So her actual body weight was
198.
108.
198. 198 pounds. Convert to kilograms. 90 kilograms.
90 kilograms.
So 90 times 11
90 times 11
equals 990.
990.
And then
90
times 14, right?
Yeah.
Equals 1260.
Kickoffs.
I really.
Sorry, I was gonna go and make it. And then I'll put this.
Oh no.
So why is it so like? Oh shit.
Okay, so she just had major surgery, but she's in peace. But we're not doing a hypocaloric reading. Wait, are we doing a hypocaloric reading?
I mean, isn't this already like?
Because in the first one, because for minor surgeries, it's just 1 to 1.1 to 1.2 to 1.5. But for obese, it'll be 2 to 2.5. Using ideal body weight.
That I don't know.
For male, it's 1.5, right?
Yeah, for male it's 105. Oh, is there another one?
There's no.
What?
Yeah.
I was like, there's only one. We don't have kcounts for the hypocaloric readings. I'm just saying, like, for the like hypercaloric feedings, we don't have like numbers to work with. But like the kcals already for obese is already low. Like 11 to 4 kcals is pretty low. So I'm guessing that's already like because this was in red.
Yeah.
And this is in red.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's already like saying that this is already low.
Yeah.
So I think we're okay.
Yeah, we're good for the. What about the protein?
Hypercaloric feeding may require higher levels up to 2.5 gm per protein per kg. Because it's lower calories and increased protein for hypercaloric. So we're okay. So it's 2 to 2.5. Oh, don't worry that I got that.
Focusing on these energy needs.
Yeah.
And we're using ideal body weight.
IBW, yes.
So that's 90 pounds. I mean 110 pounds.
110 pounds, yeah. IBW, yes. So, do you need this?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
So it's 50 kgs. Wait, what?
50 grams.
50 grams.
Times, what is it, 2.5?
I thought it was 2.2.
Or 2.2?
Wait, you don't divide, you multiply?
Yeah, you multiply.
That was divide.
Oh, divide.
Isn't it divide?
It's grams per kilogram.
No, I think it's multiply.
You multiply, right? Wait, that's so much.
And it's 2.5? So that's 275. Don't trust me. I mean, kg it would be less. That would be right. Why aren't we using kg? Because it's protein per kg. Grams, it's just to measure the protein.
What is it?
Right here.
Yeah, it's grams per kilogram of ideal body weight. So there's 110 pounds of ideal body weight times 2 and then times 2.5. And I'll give you the range.
Wait, no. What I'm asking is, do you know how we use pounds over here?
Yeah.
I thought we were used to
kilogram.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Right? So then 110 divided by 2.2, which is in pounds, gives you 50 kgs.
50 kg. Okay, yeah. So that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, and I was like, wait. And then
Is it 2 to 2.5? Oh, 2.
so yeah, 100 obviously, and then 100, and then 125. Yeah. It's pretty fresh. Okay, so for your energy needs.
Using hypocaloric feedings.
So we used hypocaloric feedings as the patient is obese. Her BMI was 62.2.
Right, exactly. So I just don't want you to think that because it says 30 to 35, it's happening to 30. Like if that's not true, it's 30. Bump it up to what it feels.
Yes.
Yes.
Is there anything else needs to be made?
Where am I?
I don't know.
Oh, there.
For protein. Right, and you're absolutely right. You're right.
we use 2.5 grams per kilogram. Because we were following hypocaloric feeding.
Readings, yeah. I don't know what else you would want with that explanation. And maybe I could say that for hypocaloric feedings we use lower calories and increased protein.
Mm-hmm.
Protein, I don't know what happened.
It was good.
Yeah. We just did a lot more. Because they wants to move to scenario 3. JC's working on scenario 2. Everything looks okay. Okay, so 31-year-old male, significant burns. 25% of the body due to home fire. Height is 3'6". 72 plus 1, right? 73? Sorry, I'm using a calculator.
What is that?
Inches? Right?
73. Mm-hmm. And 190 pounds divided by 2. It's 86.4.
Or kgs.
Yeah. So ideal body weight would be 105 plus 13 times 5. Right?
Yeah.
170.
170. That's pounds, right?
Pounds. Divided by 2.2. It's 77.3 kilograms.
Okay. BMI is 190 times 703 divided by 73 squared. 703, right?
73 squared. 25.
Yeah, 703. Okay.
25.
She's normal.
So he's normal.
Okay.
Oh, 6? I think it might be.
You're right, yeah.
6 times 13, right? Oh, yeah.
Wait, it's 106 plus 6 times.
184.
Divide that by
83.6.
good catch, thank you. Energy needs is normal, I guess.
Energy.
The only thing changed for burns is protein.
He's normal weight, so it'd be 30 to 35. Using actual body weight, so 190 times 30 and 190 times. Oh wait, it's kilograms.
Actual body weight
It's 86.4.
86.4
times 30. It's 2592.
2592. What is that?
Oh, 25. 2,592.
2,500. Oh, sorry. Kick out.
And 86.4 times
86.4 times 35.
Wait, he's 25.
That's normal.
That's a little.
Well, 24.9 is normal.
He's 25.0.
I think it could be considered normal.
Uh, 3,024.
3,000.
3024. Cause like this is BMI.
So he's slightly overweight. I mean, would he really be considered overweight?
What about 28 to 33?
Okay.
That would be in the middle.
28 to 33.
Yeah, that would be like right in the middle. Because he's like right on the edge. So 86.4 times 23?
28.
2419.2. 2,419.2. I can't number.
241942. Okay. And then times 33.
2851.2.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems a little bit recent. Yeah. That way, like we're like in the middle.
Middle, yeah. 2851.2. Okay.
But I did like. She's right there.
So protein, severe burn, up to 2 grams. He has 25% of the body with significant burns.
That still burns open wounds, so we need to use 2.
Up to 2.
Yeah. We
So
can
maybe
do
like 1.5 to 1.8 because it's not that many burns.
burns, yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. 1.8 to 2. No, what did you say?
1.5 to 1.8.
1.5 to 1.8.
Broken injury surgery.
She got surgery to dissect the bone.
Are they like doing like incisions on her? Does this say?
Doesn't say anything. She just underwent surgery to set the bone.
I just guess go with like minor surgery.
I feel like it's minor, but
Yeah, because it's not like a intensive surgery.
Because the other guy, well, what did the first one we did, he had, he had major abdominal surgery. Oh, okay.
Do you have any other groups still working on the assignment? We're still calculating. Oh, okay.
We still have one more to go. Okay, do 83.6 times 1.5.
125.4.
125.4. And then 0.2. Or 2, sorry. 83 times 3.
Oh, is this in 1.8?
Oh shit, sorry. Yes, you're right.
150.5.
150.5. And this is
grams of protein. Are you using my mask? Huh? Maybe.
I just was trying to keep her interested.
What's it called? Not mixing, but interlapping pose.
We used crossing, intersecting, converging, overlapping, yeah. Inversion lap. Those are cool. This is not helpful. The synonym thing is not helpful. Okay. Ranges. I guess I can use that for here too. Like we used an overlap of major surgery and burns protein range. Major surgery and burn protein range of that's good, right? Do we need any more? It's 12 plus 6, so he's 66 inches. Oh, she's already working on it. Oh, this guy has a weight less than IB or IBW. Scenario 4.
Yeah, it's make it scenario 2.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, she just had a correct. That's the one exception just one more.
Yeah, because her IBW is 59, and that's greater than her original weight.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's less than her original weight. Yeah, less than
Her ideal body weight is greater than her actual body weight. So we used active body weight. Yeah.
I think we're good, right? Anything else that we need to?
Oh, just putting space Like one in each.
Wait, what? What?
Like there are 3.
Oh, you're doing that? Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Alright, programs.
Don't forget to put your name. Oh yeah.
Maybe you're still working.
Maybe just her name smaller.
Yeah, it's true.
And the big one bigger. Yeah.
Should I submit it? Alright, we have to wait till she corrects this.